Tuesday, Flosstube. Hello, crafty friends. My name's Caroline. Welcome back, Daily Crafty Chat. And I'm recording here in London, Ontario, Canada. If you're new, welcome. Thanks for joining me today. And if you're a returning friend, I'm glad you're here. Okay, so quickly today, let me share my progress first on Savon that I accomplished last night. I think I put in 6 strands of floss. I've completely filled in this bottom corner here of this border, which was nice to finish that. After you've stitched a gajillion of these little motifs, they tend to become tiresome. So filling in this border was so satisfying. And now, what else? Oh, I filled in this motif here last night. So it's closing in on itself. Almost done. All of the information on my current works in progress are in the drop down box below. That is Savon by Landmark Tapestries and Charts, and I'm stitching that on a 16 count Aida, 2 threads of DMC over 2. So I mentioned yesterday that John has offered to help with my work for my small business. And I mentioned that I was going to teach him how to cut batting last night for the bags. And he was so cute. It was so funny. Not funny, haha, but like endearing, because he was so careful. So it was his first time using a rotary cutter. I use an 80-20 bat in my bags, and I'm on a last roll of an older, this is actually not something I've discussed before, but it's something that's been on my mind for about 6 months. The batting that I use from the company they've changed their bat. So the fabric rep, the customer service rep, sent me a sample of the new bat. It's the same product, but they've changed it apparently. She said, oh, I know you like that, had it, because I really worked hard to find this particular bat that is exactly how I like the bags to feel. And so when the batting changes, that's a big difference to me. Now it's probably 99% only going to be noticed by me, but it is still going to change how the bag feels. So she sent me a sample of it, and it's definitely a little bit thinner, but I think, you know, I made the sample into a small notions pouch, and the difference is, I think it's acceptable. Now, she hasn't told me if my cost is going to be the same, so I still have to figure that out. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. So I'm still working with the old batting that I still had a bit of a stockpile of. And so he was very careful not to do it wrong, so that there would be he didn't want to have any waste. So, and I'm like, you know, it needs to be close, but it's okay. You can go a little faster if you want to. He was so slow. He was so slow with the rotary cutter, but I know he'll speed up, and I love that he cares that it's right. And so that was, he cut batting for me for 2 hours last night. I think he's a keeper. I think he's a keeper. So I was thrilled and very touched that he's willing to step in and help me. I have mentioned before that I am going to be looking to hire someone for when I move into a new space. Now, I don't think I was clear. I've mentioned, and I showed some video of some new space that I am going to be renting starting in March, probably the middle of March. There are a few renovations that need to be done to the space, like a bathroom has to be put in. And I don't think I was clear that this is not going to be a brick and mortar shop. This isn't going to be a storefront. This is going to be workspace for me. It's just going to be a bigger space so that I'm not, at the moment, I'm in a tiny little, you know, bedroom in our house, and I just don't have enough room. And you know, adding in the floss and adding in a few extra things down the line for the online shop, I just need a bit more space, and I need to hire someone part-time to help. And so, you know, there's a pandemic going on, so it's not exactly the best time to be looking to be working with new people. And so for the foreseeable short-term future, John has offered to help. So I'll take him up on it for as long as he's willing. I worked for him for many, I probably worked for his business for 20 years doing paperwork. So I did sort of book work for his accountant, and I had no schooling in the work that I was doing. It was really just, it was basic data entry work, and John trained me how to do exactly what he needed me to do. So it worked really well. But you know, when you work with your spouse for 20 years and it's not really a job that you love or like or are particular, I was good at it, but let's say that I came to it unwillingly. I'm not sure I made it very easy for him all the time. And so the fact, and I haven't worked for him for about 3 years now. And so the fact that he is willing to offer the same for me in exchange, I'm touched. So there you go. Huge check mark in the plus side for John. And he never watches these videos, so rest assured that I have actually said those words to him as well as to you. Okay, so there's my update on what John did last night, which was successful. The only other thing I wanted to talk to you about today was that I've had a fun little idea, and it is entirely thanks to a viewer named Candace, who has, last few days, Candace and I have been emailing each other back and forth. She's got some Leo and Roxy floss on order, and so we were discussing, she had a multiple order, so we started emailing. And then she mentioned yesterday, she said, oh, I just wanted to check in that you'd read a little story that I'd sent you back in December, because I'm not sure you read it, and it was pretty fun. I know you'll find it funny, so make sure you go and check it out. And that twigged my memory that I actually had read it, and it is funny, and I hadn't shared it with you guys yet. One more thing about Candace before I move on. She told me that she is having custom floss boxes made for her. So I said, I think we're going to need some photographs of those custom floss boxes. So I'm really hoping that Candace will send me those so that I can look at them myself and maybe share them with you. So we'll see what she says. So anyways, back to the story that Candace sent me. It really is quite funny. And she had sent it to me in relation to a story that I have told in the past about a cone of DMC 310 that I purchased years and years ago. And I've told the story of my 310 numerous times on this channel. So instead of telling my story again, I'll link to the video in the drop down box below where I told my story. And so if you haven't heard it yet, you can go and check out that video and listen to my story. But today I'm going to tell you Candace's story. I'll read her story. And then I was getting ready for work this morning, and I was thinking about Candace's story, and I thought, oh, how funny it was, and how it had made me smile, and I thought, there's got to be so many other funny, crafty stories out there that would just bring us all a smile, a laugh, something. So why don't we have a little funny, crafty story contest? What do you think? So if you're sitting on a story that's either about something that happened to you or something that happened to a friend who isn't interested in, you know, telling their own story, and maybe you want to tell their story, as long as they don't mind. We don't want to be, you know, telling tattletales here. But, you know, it would be really fun to share these stories. And so I thought we could do it kind of like a you know, Britain's Got Talent, or, you know, those shows where, you know, lots of people do stuff and then there's a judging panel and then we'll have a winner. And of course we need to have a couple of runner-ups as well. So I have a judging panel for you, and it's the perfect judging panel because they're completely unbiased. They don't know you, and they don't have any vested interest in pleasing me, my family. They're not trying to make up to me, as it were. So we all like each other, so it's good. So I won't have anything to do with the judging. The judging will be John, who's pretty funny, but also doesn't know a lot about crafting. So, but he will appreciate it if it's funny. There's Sarah, who knows a fair bit about crafting, but she's, you know, she's 19, almost 20, so it takes quite a bit to impress her. And then there's Nicholas, who thinks everything is funny. So between the three of them, I think we can have them be an impartial, fair jury of, you know, the funniness of the story. And just for fun, because let's face it, right? Everybody's got a story, and they're usually just so much fun to share. So let me tell you Candace's story. And if you do have a story to share and you want to be entered in the little contest, and I'll give away a project bag, a medium. If you want a flat or a wedge, it'll be up to you. Whoever wins the contest can choose whichever one they'd like. So it'll be a bag set from Evertote. You'll need to email me, Caroline@evertote.com. Email me your story. Don't leave it in the comments below, because we want to save these as a surprise for people to hear about, and I'll read your story. And so email them to me, and extra brownie points if you send me a photo of what you're talking about, or, you know, if you have a photo from when it happened or anything like that. Okay, so the only other rules would be that you have to keep it clean, because I do have younger guests who like to watch. And a little shout out to Sam and Katie if you're watching today. Sam, your mom sent me a photograph of your stitching, and Sam and Katie's mom now has a Flosstube channel. So her name is Emily, and I'll link to her channel in the drop down box below if you want to check her out. If you've been here for a while, you've heard me talk about Sam and Katie before. They're just here for Luna, I think. And now that they're stitching, maybe they're here a little bit for the stitching as well. So we'll keep the stories clean. And other than that, I think that's it. No, it has to be about crafting. So any kind of craft, stitching, knitting, sewing, quilting, anything, any kind of craft. If you've got a funny story, send it my way. All right, now let me read you Candace's story. So, just so we have some reference, my cone of 310 is downstairs. So this is a cone of $8.95 from Amazon that I ordered last year. It's just so you've got a reference in your mind of what a cone of floss looks like, okay? All right, so Candace's story. My stitching friend Anne and I decided to buy a cone of DMC 310. I heard you tell your story about buying one and taking half back to the store. We are planning to stitch Pandemic starting in January, and Anne wants to use 310. Plus we both have a lot of Halloween charts that just use black. It seemed like a good idea at the time. Back in September, I called my local needlework shop, which I love, but they are, shall we say, not great with communication. I ordered the cone and fabric for my Pandemic and a bunch of Weeks threads. So that's Weeks Dye Works. By mid-October, I called to check on the order, and they said they had everything but the cone and were having trouble getting it from their supplier. I don't hear back from them, and so I ordered a cone for $20 from 123 Stitch, which of course arrived immediately. Excuse me. I was going to follow your method of using weight to roll out half to split with Anne. The next week, my local needlework shop calls to say my cone has arrived, and they are giving me a great deal at $40. Anne and I joke about how now we will each have our own cones and complain about the high markup at our LNS. You see where I'm going with this, right? My local needlework shop cone arrives, and it is the huge cone of 4,100 meters. I was in the middle of class teaching college freshmen on Zoom from home when it arrives. I opened the package, tell my students the story of my big blank 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 cone. My students start thinking of names for the cone. They decide my cone is Threderick, and Anne's smaller cone is his sidekick, Weaverson. Weaverson, that's good. Just for fun, I put big googly eyes on mine. There is much 310 joy in this house. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Over 4,000 meters of DMC. So when I ordered my cone, it was 1,000 meters, and I split 1,000 meters with another woman who had ordered, it was for all of the landmark tapestries and charts patterns. And so I had split it with her. So I only ended up with 500 meters. I can't imagine. I cannot imagine what over 4,000 meters looks like. So Candace, if you can, I would love a photo of your enormous Threderick with the googly eyes. I think that's awesome. Great story. So thank you for sharing. All right, so who else out there has a funny craft story that you'd like to share? Because I know that, you know, we are approaching a year of, you know, a worldwide pandemic, and, you know, people are needing a little bit of extra brightness and joy in their day. So let's try to spread just a little bit of a smile. If you've got a funny story, email it to me, caroline@evertote.com, and let's just have a little bit of fun. Okay, that's it for me today. I still have a little bit more floss winding to do because I didn't get all of that done on the weekend. I still have a fair number of orders to get packaged and shipped out today. I know I had said I was hoping to be done by the end of Tuesday. It's looking like it's going to take me a third day. It's looking like if you'd ordered in any of the 3 shop updates last week, I'm working as hard and as fast as I can to get them all out. So if you ordered a bag, chances are your order will go out on Thursday, maybe even Friday, if you ordered a bag with your floss by Friday at the latest. But if you're just waiting on floss, I should have all of those orders out by tomorrow, which is Wednesday. And that's it. There was something else. What was the other thing? Now I can't remember. It'll come to me later. I'm sure of it. I think that is it. I do think that's it now. Pretty sure anyways. If not, I'll see you again tomorrow. So until tomorrow, I hope you're well. I hope you're safe, and that you have a few minutes tonight to spend doing something crafty that will bring you a little bit of happiness tonight. And I will see you tomorrow. Take care. Happy stitching.